We Like What We Like the podcast. I'm Brennan.
And I'm Greg.
How's it going, man? It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, it's been, God, at least a month it feels like.
At least. And we have one podcast that we never put out, so...
Yeah.
We had said we were going to release a podcast to follow up our cartoon episode, and I just never did that. So that's a little piece of lost media for you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure someday it'll come out and everyone will
have forgotten all about the actual episode.
Yeah, so
what have you been geeking out about lately? Have you been, watching or playing? And
I guess I've been playing some Super Mario Wii U Land,
Super Mario,
whatever that game's called. Yeah. It's pretty fine.
yeah, we kind of talked about that in our Talking with the Boys episode, because I've been playing New Super Mario on the Wii, and I got to a point where I was trying to go through and kind of 100% this game, and I was just getting so frustrated, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to beat it. And then go back and get all the collectibles and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm ending up having to do with this one, too. Although it didn't take me very long. At the end of the first world, I was already like, I just want to beat it. I don't care if I have all that stuff.
But you need it.
Yeah. Now I'm just dealing with this void left to my life by Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And just waiting for Borderlands 3. That'll be another month or so.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty quick.
Yeah.
What about, have you watched anything good lately?
God, I know I have, but I guess
That's
nothing
cool.
that stands out. Yeah, I watched Men in Black International.
Mm-hmm. How was...
It was a Men in Black, and they were international.
Were they?
They at least went to 2 countries.
You'd kind of Snapchatted me about that movie. Now, how was the actual, as far as the performances? Were they fine?
Yeah, it was a Men in Black. It wasn't... Nobody was blowing me away. None of the characters were especially great.
Yeah.
The aliens looked good.
Did they? I really only like the first Men in Black. I don't care for 2, and then I never saw 3. I knew I didn't like the second one, so I just didn't even give it a try.
Yeah, I would say that's probably for the best. I think they went in order, getting worse. I think the first one was the best, then second, then third, then this one.
Yeah. I haven't really watched anything lately. I've been rewatching some Letterkenny. I started rewatching the IT Crowd with my stepdaughter. It seems like she's enjoying it. I don't think she loves it, and she doesn't quite get some of the humor in it, but it's one that my wife and I have watched together a couple times, actually. We both like it, so other than that, I haven't really been watching too much. I know you have been watching a little bit of some old G4 stuff.
Yeah, I really got on a kick for G4 Tech TV stuff.
X-Play.
Yeah, X-Play, Attack of the Show, and kind of just old game trailers and things, commercials.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a blast from the past, but then it also, I guess the trailers and stuff do a really good job of hyping you up, because I'm finding myself getting really hyped to play 15-year-old games. Oh, you're right, guys, that does look great. I do need to pre-order my copy on PS2.
You said a similar thing. You were watching some of the, for those of you who don't know of this, there's a YouTube channel called GameSack. And you were watching some of their videos and getting kind of hyped about games that you never really cared about before.
Yeah, they're specifically, I've never been huge into fighting games. I like them fine, and I will play them. I buy them, I play them sometimes, but it's not my favorite genre or anything.
Yeah.
And just some really old quote-unquote old classic fighting games, like the first Soul Calibur and like Tekken Tag Tournament and stuff.
Yeah.
Games like I never really cared about. I was always like Mortal Kombat guy.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, just like watching reviews on those games, and I was like, oh wow, these are amazing. Like, why haven't I played these? It's only been out 20 years.
I played like Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, pretty, a decent amount, I would say. I had a buddy that was into those games a lot, so when we got together, we played that. And then one of the Bushido blades, he was big into that, so we played that. But really, those are the only games. And then like the Marvel vs. Capcom, those games. But really, for me, it was Mortal Kombat. I've never been a Street Fighter fan, really. I don't mind them, but I just never got into them.
Yeah, they're fine. Like, I don't own any. Actually, I do. I think I have one on PS3.
I have one on Sega.
But it's not like something that I'm ever excited about. Like, oh, I can't wait to play Street Fighter.
Yeah. Which, Street Fighter people are kind of the same way with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That is their game, so I don't know. It's just, there's some characters I like in there.
Yeah. I guess that's my problem, is like with Mortal Kombat, I like most of the characters at least a little. Mm-hmm. And with Street Fighter, like, I like some characters a bunch, and then a lot of them I just don't care about at all.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am with it too. So, yeah, I guess, different stress for different folks.
I guess not.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we saw a trailer for a movie called Good Boys that's coming out. Yeah. And it does look like a good boy. It looks real funny. It is about a group of boys, kind of adolescent, wanting to know about kissing and kind of some sex things and trying to learn about that.
Yeah. Which, now that you say that out loud, I feel like that's probably not what the movie's about. It's probably just part of the movie. It would be weird if it was a whole movie about them trying to learn about kissing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Just it's 2 hours of them going, how to kiss.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's directed by this guy named Gene Stupnitsky, who, like, we kind of looked up who he was. We didn't recognize him by name, and like he worked on The Office and Year One, which the guy he wrote this with is Lee Eisenberg, who also wrote on Year One.
Yeah.
And Bad Teacher.
Yeah. So.
And then they also worked on a Bad Teacher TV show, which we didn't know existed.
So a couple of hits under their belts, to be sure.
Yeah. A bunch of stuff that just doesn't... really, they haven't worked on a lot of things when we were kind of looking at their IMDb. So, but it does look really funny.
Yeah.
It has that, like, very, like, realistic humor. Like, real situations that kids would actually get into. So, it feels like... people miss those, like, 80s adult comedies.
Yeah.
And that's what this feels like. And it's something we've talked about before, where, like, some people, like, don't like Super Troopers. And Super Troopers, to me, feels like an 80s adult sex comedy, That's just what it feels like. It feels like it's a less slapsticky, Police Academy kind of.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. I don't know. I get not liking it, but it does feel like that, falls in that genre.
Yeah. I think I can't imagine liking Police Academy and then not liking Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Unless I could see, not that I agree with this, whatever, but I could see where maybe if you're religious. I don't know if it's even.
But then you're probably not watching those kind of movies anyway.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at more or less is though, maybe if you're against drugs, then the pot talk and stuff is off-putting.
Yeah, but I feel like it fits in a mixture of Police Academy and then the Cheech and Chong movies. It just fits into that.
Yeah,
that style of humor. The guys are of that age. They were when they made Super Troopers late 20s, something like that. So they grew up on those kind of movies. So it's just an extension of that. So I don't know. Then we've also recently, I know we're a little behind, but we got the 3 from Hell full trailer.
Yeah.
How did this get you more hyped? Did you still feel the same, or?
It's I'm gonna word this tricky, but it's only got me a little more hyped. But I was already really hyped.
Yeah.
I've been super hyped for this movie.
Say hyped one more time, please.
My hype is so hyped that hype.
Okay. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
When I've always loved House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
Those are like two of my favorite horror movies. Mm-hmm. So, just the announcement that this was happening, I was already at like a million.
Yeah.
And the first little teaser trailer...
That's fine.
Kind of took me back a peg, because that doesn't show anything. It's really like... it's disappointing.
Yeah.
But then, we get this full trailer, and I'm back on the saddle. And, ready to see it.
Yeah, I am too. It looks real good. We've talked before about being Rob Zombie fans, and I get that people don't like his movies, but I do.
Yeah.
I think they're great. People don't like that kind of rednecky backwoods.
I love that.
I do too.
Love his whole
aesthetic.
Yeah, not even just his movies, just him walking around the town. I like his like weird kind of redneck homeless man, but real goth. He's like your uncle, but
I have a friend that does not care for his movies, but likes him. Would love to sit down and have a conversation with him about, horror movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, I think he would be a great guy to, sit back, have a beer with, and
let's
talk.
get him on the show.
I already had him. I'm sorry I forgot to tell you. You weren't invited. He specifically told me he didn't want that guy on the show.
Yeah.
And I knew who he meant.
After all the stalking. And
Yeah. So, that's fine.
Yeah.
I got to do it without you. And
his loss.
I know.
He's been dying to meet me.
No, he hasn't. That's
well, look at him. He's clearly dying.
Yeah, he's looked that way since the late 80s.
10 years old.
Yeah.
He was just a small child walking around with.
I wonder. I've never looked it up. I wonder if there are pictures of him without the beard, at all.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Because even White Zombie formed in technically the late 80s.
Yeah.
And he's always had that beard. So I don't know,
I guess there was a little bit of time where it was shorter,
yeah.
Educated horses time.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of shaved down,
Yeah.
but
yeah, I wonder what he looks like without the beard.
I'd like to see him without the beard and short hair. Yeah.
Go the Weird Al route.
In a leather jacket, and he's being like the Fonz.
Yeah, kicking jukeboxes and jumping sharks and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ask him.
I will. I'll send him an email.
Get him on the horn.
All right.
Presto chango, he's here. Anyway, moving on from that. So we've also recently a couple things video game related. At Games, who is kind of like a swear word almost at this point with some people who have released some, kind of like a Sega Genesis preloaded couple of systems that are already preloaded with games, and specifically the Sega ones that you could actually put the cartridge in. You play your original cartridge and then some, Atari style, and then an arcade one.
Yeah.
They are coming out with their own arcade cabinet to kind of compete with Arcade 1-Up. And this is there's going to be two models. One is about the same size as the Arcade 1-Up cabinets. And then the other one is going to be a full-size cabinet.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, was it 500 or 600?
I think the cheaper one was 500 and the bigger one was 400 and 600, I think.
Somewhere in that, in that area. And it boasts 350 games. I'm doing air quotes here.
Yeah.
Apparently, reading a little more into that, there's only so many preloaded on there. And then there's something about a streaming service you have to sign up for?
Yeah, it's I think it's a subscription that you buy to get the rest of the games.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, not doing that.
No. but it is cool because there is like online playing.
Yeah.
There's multiplayer, online multiplayer, leaderboards. It does have a 6-button controller. It's got a actual trackball. And then like the knobs kind of like for like certain games, like almost like the Pong style.
Like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I see people buying them because you could also play this with your Steam games, which I'm still real interested in how that's going to work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how that does work. Like, it's going to have a pretty good like hardware in there to run some Steam games.
The only thing I can imagine,
unless it streams,
it's just streaming from your own computer.
Yeah, kind of like the Steam Link.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, that's possible. I don't know. They haven't said much about that yet. So, I don't know. I see a lot of people using it as a MAME cabinet.
Yeah. Something I did just think about, though, with it having online leaderboards, this will be like the first arcade in history that you can be like the definitive like top guy.
Yeah.
Like, not just at your local arcade, but like the worldwide like
that's
points
true.
Leader.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see more about it they haven't gave like a release date or anything like that. There's no like physical version of it yet. There's just like a mock-up. Yeah. So, and I don't have $600 anyways to spend on it, but yeah.
It'll be interesting too to see if it can be like hacked and put more games.
Oh, they basically already said that you can do that. So that's why I think people will use it as basically a MAME cabinet. But then on the same kind of thing, these got announced some time ago, but some more details have come out with the Arcade 1-Up cabinets. You've got the Star Wars one, which we talked about before, which is the one that really I would like to have because that was the very first arcade cabinet I ever played.
Yeah.
But then you've got the TMNT cabinet, which does have 4-player. And I guess they have said that they have expanded the where the controllers are some to make. We talked about that before about how it's going to be really hard to fit in 4 players. In that because we actually played it at a real arcade and it was tough.
I still imagine even with that expanded, it's going to be so cramped because it'd have to be like 4 times as wide as the arcade.
I think it'll be with 2 players you're fine, but then you're gonna have to be on opposite ends.
Yeah, you'll still have to be playing as like 1 and 4.
Yeah, and then they've also got the Marvel cabinet as well, which has the dual speakers. It actually will have a light up marquee, which is something we've talked about before. That people have made their own kind of modded the cabinet to have that, but this will actually have that, and then it'll have the specific riser that has artwork designed specifically for it. And then it's got the thing that they're saying is what's causing it to be a little pricier is the Sanwa joysticks, which the issue with the Arcade 1-Ups is the buttons are a little cheap feeling, and they're going with the Sanwa is a better build. They are more expensive. Like if you price them on your own, like the buttons themselves are like. Just for the buttons, like $40 or something like that for one set of buttons. So, and then the joystick itself is like $30 or something like that. So the cost is factoring in better hardware so that will last longer, and so I think that's a good thing. I think they should keep going with that. Anything to, the price on these things. We have talked about this before. We're both a little different on the price, but I think if you up the price just a little bit and have an all-around better cabinet that's actually worth the price you're putting into it, I think more people would be apt to buy it because it's going to last. Unlike how the ones now, you see them in the stores and the graphics already rubbed off. Go ahead and include that piece of like plaster or whatever, that plastic to cover up the graphics so you're not rubbing it off. Just include that in the price. That shouldn't be a thing that you have to purchase or they send you on the side. Just include it in the box.
I think the biggest problem that's kind of plaguing Arcade 1-Up, which, because I mean, I guess, enough people buy them, but you still see them like overstocked everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Our Walmart, and maybe that's different because we are just seeing our area.
Yeah.
And sometimes we see other people post about it online. But in our area, yeah, like we'll go into Walmart and they'll have the exact same 7 or 8 boxes that have been sitting there for weeks.
Yeah. I think the problem is they're still overpriced for their market.
Yes.
Because like the really, really hardcore collectors would rather it be a full-size cabinet.
Yeah.
And then
or if they're real collectors, they'll just buy a real cabinet.
Yeah.
Or build their own, or...
And then the, like, more casual side people aren't going to want to pay that much for the 4 games or whatever that come on it.
I'm interested. They also have these, and they have... they've shown them off, the wall units.
Yeah.
That just, like, mount to the wall that are, like, 2-player. I'm interested to see what the price on those are. I haven't heard anything about that. To see, because I wouldn't actually mind something like that if the price was like $150.
Yeah, I wonder. I haven't seen anything on this. Are those scaled like the same as the ones they make now, or are those like bigger?
They're from the looks of it, it looks like it's the same like width and height as just the top part. Basically from the controller up.
Yeah.
So just without the bottom half.
I almost wonder then if, since they're releasing that, I would bet then the entire bottom of those is just like hollow.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're just hollow.
Yeah.
So it's basically just half the unit. So I don't know what the price on that is. And then I guess they've teased, maybe they've even, I don't think they've officially announced it yet, but from the looks of it, or from the sounds of it, I'm interested on the price on this too. Looks like they may be doing some of the tabletop style, like the Miss Pac-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how much those will be. Because I like those, specifically like Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Makes me think back, like the 90s at like a like Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
All the Pizza Huts around here all had those. So I'm interested to see how much those run for, and then what ones they actually put out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess there's been some teases, too, about possibly a Simpsons arcade cabinet, but then, like, what are they packing in with that?
Yeah.
'Cause there's only the one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, though, given their track record, it would not shock me if they charged $50 less, but it just had that one game.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't know. Hope not. Yeah, because I would like that. The Simpsons
or maybe like it's Simpsons Arcade, and then they get rights to put like Bart's Nightmare and some of that.
No thanks.
Stuff on there.
No thanks. I played some of those, as a kid, and it's one of those things where. And I've heard other people talk about this, is that, you play what you have access to as a kid. You're kind of just forced to do that. Because you don't have really your own money. You're limited to what you own, what a friend maybe owns that lets you borrow, or what you're able to rent.
Yeah.
So, you rent a game for a week, and you kind of just play that game or you don't.
Yeah.
Because, at least, in my household, if we rented a game, if we didn't like it, my parents weren't taking it back and trading it for another one. We were just stuck with it for that week, or they would take it back and we just didn't get anything else.
Yeah.
So, we played a lot of games that maybe weren't really great because we had no other options.
Yeah. I guess I had a weird outlook on this as a kid. And I know thinking about it as an adult, it doesn't make much sense. But I guess as a kid, my reasoning was like, well, it's a game and it exists and they came out with it, so it's got to be good. Like, if I'm not having a good time with it, obviously I just haven't got to the good part yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any problem like playing these games that I rented and I hated it because I know though like if I keep going I will get to the good part.
Well, that's like, I am not a sports fan, but like played a few NES sports games because when we'd go in to rent something, there wasn't anything. All the other good games were out, and I wanted to play something.
Yeah.
So I would rent. Specifically, one I still enjoy was Base Wars, where you played as like robots.
Yeah.
And it had a futuristic kind of feel to it, and so that's one I still enjoy because of nostalgia. And it's really not a bad game. It's not kind of subjectively looking at it as an adult. I can see, this really isn't a bad baseball game. But yeah, there were games like that I played that I wouldn't have actually chosen to play, but again, you're limited, to what you have access to. And I lived in a small town, so we had like 2 mom and pop video stores, so it was just whatever they had, and we weren't going to go to both, even though they were like 5 blocks away from each other. If my mom took us to one, that's the only one we're going to that day, so we had to pick beforehand which one we wanted to go to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I was old enough to like when I was like 13-ish, my parents would let me ride my bike into town. And at both places, the people that ran it knew me and knew I was allowed to get things. So I would rent on my parents, And then, then I could kind of go on my own and be a little more picky because I had an allowance at that point. So now on video games, something we have talked about before. I don't know if we've actually talked about it on here, but we've talked about when we're buying a game, there's certain releases we want, and to break it down, each system kind of has their greatest hits. PlayStation has the greatest hits, Nintendo has the player's choice or player selector.
Yeah.
And then Xbox had the platinum hits. And those are it's the same game, just repackaged a little differently, and it has that logo on there. And some people will just not buy those at all.
Yeah.
Because they want the original release. They don't want that little, thing at the top that says that, or on the PS1 on the side it was green. And
yeah.
So we've talked about this, and Greg is a little more hung up on it than me. I kind of just, if I want a game, I just buy it. I don't care if it's, I would prefer it not be that the greatest hits or whatever, but if it's there, I'll get it. If there's if I'm buying it online, if the regular version's $1 to $2 more, I'll just go ahead and get the original version. But if there's only if there's more than that in the price difference, I will just go ahead and get the greatest hits, because I'm this is $3.50, $5. Well, fine, I'll just give I don't really care. I just want to play the game.
Yeah, I think honestly the only hang up is I still think of it as a collector, because as far as actually playing the games, then I don't care. It can be greatest hits or whatever. But then as a collector, I like the idea of having all of the original releases.
Yeah.
And that's really all the hang up is I always feel well, if I just hold out, I can just get the regular version.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I think I guess that doesn't matter as much to me.
Yeah.
Because, looking at my collection, I have a bunch of greatest hits and stuff that I've got over the years. Usually, not by accident, but, in a lot or something where, I didn't choose it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still, I've kind of amassed so many, and I'm not going back and, some of these games I don't care about that much that I would, I have to get rid of this so I can get the real version, So, on that note, I guess my thought process is kind of changing to, maybe I will just go for whatever's the cheapest version I can get, and, if the opportunity presents itself to get the original, maybe I'm buying a lot that has it in it, then
then
that's fine, and I'll trade out the other one. But
I guess it's one of those things too where you could just get the game however you can get it, and then we've talked about endpoints with collecting. Maybe there's a point where like, well, I'm done collecting for this system. Well, maybe then you go back and get rid of.
Yeah, that could work too. Just
it still gives you a chance to still collect. Yes, they're games you already own, but then you're trading out. For the better, in a collector's mind, the better version.
Yeah.
And then resell the greatest hits, or keep them as a backup copy.
Yeah.
In case whatever, something goes wrong, scratch it up somehow or something.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that big of a problem with it. Yeah, like I said, there's been certain games where something like Luigi's Mansion, I would prefer the original than the player's choice, but that doesn't stop me from buying those things. So
I guess that would be the difference. Is like how you collect Sonic games. I'm sure, like, for your collection specifically, you would rather have the original.
Yeah, so that's true.
I guess thinking of it in that aspect, like, if I'm specifically collecting a series, I would rather.
I would too. I guess I don't. Aside from the Sonic games and maybe a few specific games, I don't really think with a collector's mind. I think of it more just as a gamer's mind. So I don't really think about that that often. Unless I just see them side by side. I've done that, where I've been at, Super Replay, and they have both versions. And if they're the same price, well, then I'm going to go, Or, something like that. Or maybe the better version is, maybe the case isn't as in good a shape, but I will go ahead and get the regular version over the greatest hits, because I can always replace the case. But I don't know. It's something that I do see a lot of collectors get hung up on, and I get it. I do. If you truly are more of a collector than a player, I see that. But I don't know. It just, for me, it's not a big deal. But when I do, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, if I do see a game that I do want, say like a Twisted Metal, we talked about that recently. I want Twisted Metal for PlayStation. If I see it, the greatest hits version of it, am I going to pass it up to? No, I'm going to go ahead and grab it because I just want to play the game. So it's just not an issue, and I shouldn't let it be.
I guess part of what my deal is too, though, is we've talked about this before, but I think for both of us, we end up just getting to look at our games more than actually play them. So that's part of it, is like, since I'm only going to get to look at them, I wish they just looked nice on the shelf together.
Well, it's like a pretty lady. You can look at her all you want, but if you're going to talk to her, she better be fun.
Okay.
You like that analogy?
Yeah, it makes sense. I got it.
I know you would.
Yeah, I get you. Is that from Forrest Gump?
I think it's from Family Guy.
Okay.
Maybe cut that out. That was dumb. I regret saying it.
I don't know where you were going with that.
I kind of do in my mind, but...
Never heard that before. I don't even know what it actually means.
I think I was trying to say, like, basically that, like, a woman can be pretty, but have no personality. Where a girl who's not as attractive may have a great personality, so she may be the better one to, that's not what came out.
The way I understood it was, don't talk to a pretty woman if she's not fun.
Yes, that's right.
Don't talk to her.
No, don't. Okay.
Leave her alone. She's boring.
Oh man, this is gold right here, and it's not going in. Well, we've probably taken up enough of you guys this time. What do you guys think about, greatest hits? Is that something you even think about? Or, do you just buy whatever the fuck you want?
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear back from you. But thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the podcast. If you like the show, make sure to spread the word, check us out on social media, and give us a review on iTunes.
If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to check us out on YouTube for more content similar to what you just heard.
And until next time, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Greg.
And this has been We Like What We Like, the podcast.